Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 in Accra and on Love 99.5 in Kumasi. We're also live in all 16 regions of Ghana on over 30 affiliates, including Radio Max Takrade Bipe, FM Bipe, and Dreams of Bolgatanga. We're live on X Spaces, Facebook live stream, and My Joy online interactive app. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, the producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. The only water storage tank with a level indicator where Duraplus goes, water flows. Coming up, the Attorney General directs police to establish the exact age of the underage girl married off to the Bobo Wolomo and role of her parents in the marriage.
What's the actual age of the girl? 2. Whether she was born. 3. Did the parents also play any role in what has happened? What about the alleged husband or the person who is alleged to be the husband?
Meanwhile, children's rights violations, including neglect and forced marriages, dominate complaints at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. We have details of their latest report. Also, from obsolete equipment to lack of printers, the sad state of the passport office as the backlog of unprinted passports hits 70,000.
Computers we can't buy, the capturing machines we can't buy, the printers we can't buy. We can afford to the extent that, Elton, as we speak right now, if you go and make an application for passport and you want a booking for your biometrics, you will get it in December.
Well, the Passport Office hopes to remedy this situation with an increment in fees. But as the NDC minority complains about the cost, is the Foreign Affairs Ministry willing to review the fees?
This little threat, whatever, it is not going to happen. Take it from me.
You are not going to review it.
It will not happen. These figures, with the support of majority of Ghanaians, it has come to stay.
We have details of that coming up shortly. Also, former power minister fights government's attempt to curtail power supply to neighboring countries as the intermittent power supply challenges show no sign of abating.
There is a command that our export of electricity to other countries will be curtailed.
If the president directed that we halt power export to the neighboring countries, then it would have been on very bad advice. It is populist.
We have sports.
Ghana's all-time top scorer Samoa Gyan urges patience for Black Stars coach Otuado after a slow start to his second tenure.
And later in the bulletin, a broadcaster recounts how Drags ended his career in the latest Joy News documentary.
Instead of me going on air, I wouldn't go. I would say, Mufti Dabri, Najib, it is a good play for me. So at God point in time, despite says, no, it seems this guy has lost it. Has lost focus.
Well, details of that and more coming up with me, Maame, Nyamekye, Thompson. Please stay for details. In our first story, the Attorney General's office has directed the police to ascertain the precise age of the underage girl reportedly married off to Bobo Wolomo in Nungwa last weekend. Many human rights groups want the traditional priest to face the full rigors of the law. But the girl's age is now in contention after members of the community claimed she wasn't 12 as was originally reported. Here are excerpts from a press conference by the Nungwa Wolomo yesterday.
The girl in question is actually 16 years old. We accept and agree that by the constitution of the land, she is underage, but she is not married to the Bobo Wolomo as it is being stated. That is not the issue.
And that is an excerpt from a press conference yesterday by the Nungwa Wolomo. While the Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister Stephen Asamoah Boateng says the girl has been identified as a minor, but investigations are underway to unravel more details about her age.
We seem to be unraveling some few things. For instance, the age 12 that we were made to believe is incorrect. The child is almost 16. But still a minor. But the difference in age alone tells us there's something more we have to look for. So we won't take the word. We have to look for what's the birth certificate, for instance. Which school does she go to, for instance. So records there will give us confirmation. So but those are things that we keep on doing.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Attorney General Alfred Chiayabo has emphasized the necessity of determining her age and the involvement of her parents in the marriage. Mr. Chiayabo spoke to my colleague Elton Brobe on the Pulse.
Ghana is a nation of laws. We have various laws regulating how children are to be treated. We are not passing judgment at this stage. What we are seeking to do is to involve the law enforcement agencies, the Ghana Police Service especially, investigate the matter. If at the end of the day there is evidence that someone can be charged for an offense under our law, we will definitely go after that person and charge that person, group of persons accordingly. But for now, there are also suspicions, and depending on the case that we were able to conduct and get evidence that we get, take a step further.
Is it your understanding that the child has been forced into this so-called marriage?
We are not able to assess that one now. It will depend on the investigations that the police will do into this particular matter. In fact, after they have conducted that investigation, then all this will come up. One, what's the actual age of the girl? Two, whether she was forced. Three, did the parents also play any role in what has happened? Five, what about the alleged husband or the person who is alleged to be the husband?
Alfred Chiayabo is Deputy Attorney General. Well, interestingly, children's rights violations dominated complaints at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice SHRAD for the year 2023. Out of the over 10,000 complaints received on human rights, administrative justice and corruption, more than 3,000 were on children. From neglect to forced marriages, the Commission indicates 94% of the cases were resolved. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me with details on this. Elton, exactly how many cases were reported?
So in 2023, SHRAD received 10,525 cases. Out of these cases, complaints on children were 3,509.
Okay.
Aside that, 332 complaints were received on premature retirement, wrongful termination of appointment, unlawful dismissal, failure to pay salary and entitlement, arbitrary confiscation of property by the state and public officials, destruction of properties, failure to prosecute, delay in dispensing justice, and abuse of power.
All right, now let's concentrate on the violations on children's rights. What were the cases?
So these cases were mainly on failure to pay maintenance, provision of necessities of life for the child. These include food, education, health, clothing, and shelter, rights to paternity, custody, inhuman treatment, right to be named, and early and forced marriages.
Thank you so much, Elton Brobe. Thankfully, we are joined on the line by the Deputy Commissioner at SHRAD, Mercy Labe. We're grateful for your time. Well, over 10,000 cases reported in 2023 alone. Are these the usual number of complaints you receive at the Commission? Miss Labe, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I hope you can hear me now.
Now it's clear now.
Great. Now, we're receiving, or we know that over 10,000 cases were reported last year alone at your commission. Are these the usual numbers you receive?
Yes, the numbers are quite good. Looking at last year and then this year, 2022, that is, I'm talking about last 2 years, 2022, and then 2023. There has been slight increase in the numbers of the complaints that we receive. And as it has been reported, we have quite a number of them on the children's rights. And what has been reported, the numbers are right. That is, children's rights complaint alone was 3,509. So what is reported is right.
Right. And what are the nature of these cases that come to you, especially concerning the children?
We have a lot of complaints on non-maintenance, that's right to maintenance and life necessities. We have a complaint in respect of right to health, right to education, right to be named. And then we have early and forced marriages and all other cases, child trafficking, child labor. We have right to paternity,
right,
and so on.
Could you please elaborate more on child marriages? What are the natures that come to you and how do you resolve them?
We have when you look at our statistics, 2023, we received about 25 complaints on early and forced marriages. So it's two issues that we are looking at. Early marriages and then forced marriage. The complaints that we receive, when you trigger our complaint processes, we have to go through the complaint, then investigate the complaint and come out with our decision or recommendations, if any. When you look at the early marriages and forced marriages, when you look at the Children's Act, it has been criminalized. The Children's Act has criminalized early marriages, and it goes on even to say betrothal is even a criminal offense. So betrothal is any kind of form. We are not looking at whether to the human being or to the deity. The law says betrothal in any kind form. So when we receive such complaints, as I've said, we investigate and come out with our decision.
Right.
A lot of time that we have rescued these children from these marriages.
Right. Okay, so with these 23 cases, how many?
25.
25, I beg your pardon. How many people were prosecuted and what happened to the children?
The reports may be available. What we normally do, as I said, we have to investigate and rescue the child from the marriage. And we give the prosecution, because we don't have prosecution powers, we give the prosecution to the police. So our main concern is to rescue these children from these marriages, to stop the violations. So after we have stopped the violations, then we have to follow up from the police for police to do their prosecution.
Okay.
Because we don't have power to do prosecution, we don't prosecute.
But when you rescue these children, the same parents who forced them into these early marriages, do you take them back to them?
Normally what we do is that we do something we call reconciliation. After rescuing the children, we have to educate the parents, we have to educate the community for them to accept the child back into the family. There was one issue when we even have to help the people to change the child's school in Accra here. We have to help to change the school their child was attending, to take away the stigma.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been the modus operandi that Shraj operates. If we have to protect the child, that's what we've been doing.
Right, we're very grateful for your time, Deputy Commissioner of Shraj Mercy Labi there. Moving on, obsolete equipment and lack of printers, the result of over 70,000 unprinted passports at the passport office through the applicants, though the applicants have undergone the biometric capturing process. Now, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Kweku Ambrichum Sapon says the situation could get worse if steps are not taken to fix the challenges. He spoke to my colleague Elton Brobe in a yet-to-be-aired interview.
Computers we can't buy, the capturing machines we can't buy, the printers we can't buy, we can't afford. To the extent that, Elton, as we speak right now, if you go and make an application for passport and you want a booking for your biometrics, you get it in December.
Because we're here to clear the backlog.
Because we don't have the capturing machines to be able to capture. So you go in today, you get December. And I can tell you, if you go in next week, it might be next year. It might be next. Because right now, passport printing book is taking about 8-10 months to about a year.
Yes, exactly. And
then when things start getting out of control, as it is going, deteriorating, and we don't arrest it, it is going to take about 2 years for somebody to get their passport. Because at the moment of digitalization, passport applications in a day is about 5,000. Minimum 5,000.
5,000 you're printing a day?
5,000. No.
5,000 applications.
Applications coming in.
Across the country?
Across. We are able to print maximum, after stretching ourselves, 3,000.
Out of the 5,000.
So every day,
there's a backlog of 2,000.
2,000. A week, 10,000. So 1 month, 40,000. As we speak, We have 70,000 sitting there.
70,000
70,000 sitting there backlog.
Well, this week, the Foreign Affairs Ministry announced a 400% increment in the fees. The ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, described the fees as harsh and is demanding a review. But the Deputy Minister, Kweku Amprechim-Sapon, says the fees will not be reviewed.
Sammy is professionally good at playing to the gunnery. The last 1 year, I have engaged Sammy about 4 or 5 times on this very matter. I've done extensive engagement before this thing came out. The current crop of leadership of the NDC, I have had engagements with them that, look, this is where we are. And they've all said it is not sustainable. The figures we have, my brother, no way. This upward review is very, very necessary. We can't continue to stay at where we are. When it came to, yes, the discussion on the increment or the review, the whole subsidiary legislation committee of, I think it's 10 MPP, 10 NDC or somewhere, the whole committee unanimously approved it.
Right. So, Honorable, beyond the legalities that nobody is faulting you for, his other concern is that this is going to put extra hardship on the Ghanaian, and for that reason, he will make formal approach for the minister and yourself to appear before the committee with a view to review what has become law now. Is it something that you are willing to consider?
Well, if he wants us to come to the committee, we will respect the committee. We will appear before the committee. We will repeat or rehash the reasons behind the request and the approval given by Parliament of the passport fees. That one, yes. But as to whether this little threat, whatever, it is not going to happen. Take it from me.
You are not going to review it.
It will not happen.
Well, that full interview with the Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, Kweku Amprechim-Sapon, airs on the polls this afternoon at 3 p.m. Now, former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor says any decision to curtail power supply to Ghana's neighboring countries in a bid to resolve the current intermittent electricity supply will be counterproductive. Chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament, Samuel Atachia, revealed President Akufo-Addo had ordered for the curtailment of the export of power to the countries in response to the ongoing power outages. Listen to the Obaka South MP making the revelation on PM Express yesterday evening.
I think the president's on top of the issues. I'm even been educated that there is a command that our export of electricity to other countries will be curtailed. Because the president has an acute sense of the national need than making profit abroad. So that is also a factor which will come and help. But my dear brother,
this directive would have gone to VRA. Because VRA has contractual arrangements with the neighboring countries to sell power to them.
Yes.
So that is being curtailed as we speak based on the present directive.
Yes, because we can't afford to say that, okay, let's make good money abroad and let the national economy suffer.
But reacting to this, former Power Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor described the move as ill-advised and populist.
If the president directed that we halt power export to the neighboring countries, then it would have been on very bad advice. We have contractual obligations with Togo, Benin, Burkina, and Cote d'Ivoire. Our ability to supply them power, even if we are reducing the quantum, which we have indeed done, helps cement the relationship between us and the neighborhood. VRP is able to secure funding from this export to operate the dams, the 2 dams they operate. We are a reliable power supply, and even in the 2014, 2015, 2013 load shedding period, we did not stop exporting power.
And you had former Power Minister Kwabena Donkor there. Let's go on the phone lines now and get some perspectives from Nana Moisi, who is Executive Secretary of Energy Think Tank IES. Nana, what do you make of this arrangement to curtail export of electricity to neighboring countries?
Well, from the desk of IES, we're thinking the president is trying to look within to serve the domestic customers before we look out. However, this will not be a game changer. We're still going to see the power outages. Because if you look at the quantum of exports, you're talking about somewhere between 250 megawatts and 300 megawatts. However, the deficit in generation we have today is close to 550 megawatts. And so we'll still be seeing few outages across the country. It won't solve the issue. We need to go beyond this and do something more concrete and ensuring that we shore up our power availability, not just the dependable capacity, but power that's available. We must address the financial constraint in the sector so that it can free the power plant from working. It can also free the supply of fuel for the power plant to work as well. And so we should look beyond it. It will address the issue. It also have a negative ramification, as recited by the former power minister, Komna Donko. We have a contract with these countries. If we fail to supply them and the cut in supply is extended, they might be tempted to resort to another means of getting power. And so it is likely we could lose the export market even when we are back to our feet. So the earlier we resolve the capacity challenge, the better.
Grateful for your time. Nana Mwesi is Executive Secretary of the IES, and you're listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Over 30 affiliates in Ghana's 16 regions. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we have sports. And later in the bulletin, a broadcaster recounts how drugs ended his career in our latest Joy News documentary, Addictive Creatives.
Instead of me going on air, I wouldn't go. I would say, move to Dabri. Najib, it is a good play for me. So at God point in time, despite says no, it seems this guy has lost it, has lost focus.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
You're welcome back to the Midday News. We have sports, Mubarak.
Yes, Maame, so former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan is calling on Ghanaians to be patient and supports Ghana coach Otuado despite the slow start to his second tenure. Now, Ghana suffered a 2-1 defeat to Nigeria and played out a 2-2 draw with Uganda during the international break in March under Coach Ado's leadership. Now, these results have extended Ghana's winless run to 7 games. Now, Gyan, who played alongside Otuado at the 2006 World Cup, expresses confidence that the 48-year-old will turn things around.
Building our oil, rebuilding our oil. We will continue to support his rebuilding process. Ghanaians will ultimately be the judges, so I believe we should give him time to rebuild the team. We are in a different era now, a new era, and we must be content with the players we have. The coach is the one who guides the team, and we will support him in building his team.
Yeah, that's former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan speaking on Asempa FM.
Thank you, Mubarak. It's time now for fact-checking, and today we're focusing on some of the claims made by Minister for Agriculture, Brian Champong, at a rally in Kwewu in the Eastern Region. Raymond Akwa is here with me in the studio with more on the claims and the verdicts. Now, Raymond, let's start with the minister's claim on last year's food and headline inflation.
Na yehu here na aduane ebo ayede food inflation and number 61%, inflation and 55%.
What's the verdict, Raymond?
Now, Mr. Champong claimed that when he addressed party supporters at Impraiso on Saturday, April 8, 2023, food inflation was 61% and headline inflation was 55%.
Okay.
This is inaccurate. Food inflation for the preceding month, that is March 2023, according to the Statistical Service, was 50.8% and not 61%.
Oh.
And headline inflation was 45% and not 55%. So both claims are false. Azumi even mentioned with the month of April, which is the month he was making the claim, he will still be wrong because year-on-year inflation for April 2023 was 41% and not 55%. And food inflation was in April 48.7% and not 61%.
Well, he also made claims about current inflationary rate.
And inflation and now was 61%, you know, and now it was 23%. And now inflation, food inflation and now was 61%, you know, and now I 27%.
Raymond?
If you take out the error, Minister Brandon Champons claimed that inflation is now 23% and food inflation is also 27%, are both backed by the data from the Statistical Service, therefore accurate and true.
Thank you, Raymond Akwa. He's head of our research desk. Now, there's a strong push from the Ghana Judiciary Service for some amendments to be made to the legal instrument governing parliamentary election petitions in the country. The proposal targets reducing the number of days spent in adjudicating cases. Currently, a petitioner has by law 21 days to file a case on any election outcome. However, the chairman of the Election Management Committee of the Judiciary Service, His Lordship Justice Paul Bafoboni, said this provision is putting more pressure on courts and must be repealed.
So that's why the law specifically requests that personal service should be effective. Personal service should be effective. It is after that, if it comes by, the respondent is closed by a lawyer, then you can start other processes on the lawyer. But the originating process will have to be served on the person. And that's why I say sometimes it takes too long. So we are proposing, I'm sure, that while they are filing their processes, every parliamentarian in this day and age, while they are filing their processes before, their document before the Electoral Commission, they are expected to divulge their e-addresses.
Now, residents along the Ofanko-Pokwasi-Nsawam part of the Accra-Kumasi Road are grappling with dust generated by an ongoing road construction. The air pollution is causing a range of health problems that have alarmed health experts. Michael Ashali has more.
The Ofanko-Pokwasi-Nsawam Highway has become a dust-choked battleground, leaving residents and workers here grappling with air pollution.
So once they started this road, the dust is worrying us too much. It worries me when I dress up to go to work.
It's not just adults who are affected. Hegai Bamare is an expected mother.
That's why I always put on the mask. Because if I don't put on the mask, when I reach home now, my throat will be paining me. I have to take in some Mentos before I be up. But right now that I'm wearing the mask, I don't get that thing again.
Hegai sells nose mask along the dusty road. She's not the only one made sick by the dust here. Experts say pollutants may pass to Heger's unborn child, risking birth defects and lifelong problems. Heger knows this, but she says she has no choice.
Always I go on for checkups because of my pregnancy. Always I go, they will be checking me, they say I'm okay. Sometimes I will be having a cold, they will give me medicine. But I can't stay in the house. I have to come back still and work.
Well, Noah Kane, a former radio presenter at a popular radio station in Ghana, has recounted how he lost his family and livelihood through drugs. According to him, he got into drugs because he was told it would make him more assertive and confident. Unfortunately for him, his addiction cost him his job and his family. Now, Kwame Dadzi highlights the scourge of drug addiction among celebrities in his latest documentary.
It got to a point in time, instead of me going on air, I wouldn't go. I would say, move to Dabri, Najib, it is a good play for me. So it got to a point in time, despite says, no, it seems this guy has lost it, has lost focus, and apparently I was relieved of my duties.
Not only did Noah King lose his job, he also lost his family and resorted to sleeping in slums.
One day I went to town, and then before I came back, she packed bag and baggages and left unceremoniously with a young chap, Jaden, and they left. And when I came, I said, oh yes, beautiful. I love it that you guys went. Wow. Reasons being that the little that I have, I can use it to satisfy myself again.
But Noah King is not the only Ghanaian creative that has suffered the scourge of drug addiction. Kiki Jan, Timothy Bentum, O.J. Black, Nasty, Lord Kenya, Okonfo Kwade, Sugar Tone, and Red Eye of Two Top fame have been in this situation.
Meanwhile, satirist Kweku Sintimisa advised creatives to avoid using drugs. And now it's time for Max and Jackie. What's trending, guys?
Yeah, Maame is a lot is trending.
Yeah.
Sewa is trending. Anas is trending. Reverend is also trending. And you know
Reverend.
why Reverend is
the
trending?
word reverend.
Yeah, the word
Why?
Reverend.
What's wrong with that?
You know, yesterday, the office of the Gbobu Wulama responded to allegations that the traditional priest allegedly married a minor.
Yeah.
And then they responded in a press conference. The person who addressed the press conference is actually Reverend D.N.G.C. Angra.
Okay.
Yeah. And he signed the press statement as well. And a lot of people are wondering, okay, a reverend, and then speaking for the traditional council. This one here coming from A.Z. Bassett says, being a reverend of a church and serving the traditional council is the peak of Ghanaian contradiction. Them go quote, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar to support this one.
You're not preaching what you're doing, though. But
this one he also says, so a reverend of the Christian God is also an administrator for the traditional council of the non-Christian God.
You give you give to God what belongs to God. And
They're serving the same God. They're serving the same God.
Yeah, but
anyways.
Maame, see, Davido is also trending. You know,
Okay.
after there was a fake news of him trending that he was arrested in Kenya after his show.
Yeah.
But then apparently it was an April Fool joke.
Oh.
Yes. And Davido is not taking this as a joke. He's instructed his lawyers to sue the media house after they published the story. So he's trending. People have been sharing their thoughts on this April Fool story.
And that's Jackie and Max bringing us to the end of this afternoon's bulletin. I am Nyamekye Thompson. There's more news on my Joy